Hello, welcome everybody. Josh the RV Nerd of Bish's RV down here at Coachmen today, where they were kind enough to pull up a bunch of these Freedom Expresses for us to go through. So maybe if you like this footage, drop a little note says thanks, Coachmen. And if you appreciate how we get you away from the store sometimes to get you down here in front of the inventory, hit that subscribe button. Now, this floor plan really hits some major notes, and it does some things that no other front kitchen with rear bed slide does. But it also has some hitches in its giddy up, and I want to go through and kind of show you what's good and not good about this one. So first of all, it's a little bit taller than the average bear. It's 6'9" tall all the way through, which really offers some nice headroom, but it is a radius shower, so it's going to be a little bit of an elbow bunker. Some people don't like that. It's very towable with the wide stance stability axles and the tire pressure monitoring, and it's only 30 foot, but the hitch weight's a little heavy for half tons, and when the slides close up, you really have very limited access. So this RV's greatest assets are also its greatest liabilities. But the one thing this does that I've never seen another manufacturer really knock out on this floor plan is give us a really good camp kitchen station situation, outside griddle, a bigger fridge, and a real sink with a real drain into a holding tank. That's one of those signature calling cards of this floor plan that pretty much nobody else does. Now, your living room, even the super slide, it's all carpetless. By default, you could get this with a single 15,000 BTU air, but you could also get it 50 amp service optionally, prep for a second air or second air installed, which is probably what I do, even living here in the Midwest. The underbelly's enclosed and forced air heated. It's an extended season RV, not some magic 4 seasons camper, which is a total myth, by the way, anyway. You've got things like double azdel walls. You have a lot of aluminum structure, although they've gone with a plywood floor deck to avoid any sort of soft spots. They've also increased the size of the windshield this year, which makes the whole living room on this one look and feel a lot bigger than it did before, which is especially important because they actually maximize storage by sacrificing a little bit of counter space. So everything is a push and a pull. If you like how we're being fair and candid with you, hit that subscribe button and let's get in there. And I want to hear from you. What do you like and what do you dislike about this one as we go? All right, we have a lot to cover, so let's just get dug in here. I keep waiting for Doug to show up, but Doug never shows up. I've yet to actually get Doug in here, regardless. Dad jokes. Super corny. I actually want to begin this video not with a super corny, stupid dad joke. I've had my videos described as cornformative by nobody. I just made that up right now. But the location of the converter fuse box. It's here basically in the hallway between the living area and the bedroom bathroom exchange. And when the slides close, the living room super slide, you can't get to it. There is a theoretical outside chance, albeit extremely minute, that if your fuse pops to your super slide, you're going to have to partially manually override it until you can get back to that thing to do it, which is not awesome. Now, they have totally facelifted their decor this year. We've got some crazy sunlight coming in. It's an absolutely beautiful day over here. Last week, it was like 40 degrees every day, and now it's like 70s, 80s, and I am not complaining about that. But as a result, sometimes it makes the camera work not the best, as though my camera work were ever really great. Looking at the theater seat, I want to make it clear, you can kind of see my reflection right there. I'm taking a Tim Tebow knee on one of the seats so that my feet are not on it with my shoes. So if I get the camera down here, this is probably a better estimation of what it looks like from head level, but it's still nice. But, you know, this is a taller RV. It's 6'9" from floor to ceiling instead of 6.5, 3 inches taller than industry standard. And as a result, they could have mounted the TV against the ceiling like a lot of brands do, but they didn't. And there's so many of those little user touch things on this that I think you're going to appreciate, like the electric space heating fireplace, the smart TV. We have a standard 15,000 BTU central air as opposed to a 13.5. By default, this is a 30 amp coach. By default, it's only set up for 1 air. The one that we're looking at today has the optional 50 amp service, and you can actually even get it with a second air conditioner straight from the factory. It is my preference to do that as a potential consumer myself, because when it's done from the factory, it's factory warranted, and usually it's a little less expensive, but it is possible you'll find one of these somewhere with 50 amp service and second air prep. That's probably going to be really common right now in the current market climate, because every manufacturer and their brother's really trying to chase to have the best price point out there. So you're going to find a lot of these that are 50 amp service, but not actually built with a second air from the factory. Keep that kind of little detail stuff in mind here. We'll come back and we'll get all this kitchen stuff opened up in a few minutes. I just want to get you up close here where you can see things like, you know, where they have power outlets. They don't have a stovetop side splash. That's annoying. I'd probably put like a little piece of plexi or something up in there next to my little can of Diet Mountain Dew. That's my neon green Hulk out nerd juice that basically keeps me running half the time. They've included a pair of these little roll-out dish drying racks overlooking the sink, which is really nice. But they've also this year included the little cup washer, which sort of fights the sink covers off in that corner. It's not terrible. It's just you don't have 100% sink block off coverage now. They had to get a little bit creative with their storage under the countertop, though, and for good reason. This is one of the very few front kitchen super slide campers I've seen that actually maintains a full front pass-through storage compartment. Most builders of front kitchens, you actually have two things for outside storage. You typically have jack and squat. Kind of like in the Blues Brothers, they listen to both country and western at that one, what was it, Billy Bob's, what was the name of the country bar that basically they crash and they tell everybody that they're the good old boys, the good old Blues Brothers boys. Sorry, I just went on a crazy Blues Brothers kick. Fun fact on the Blues Brothers, as long as I'm seeing squirrels, they actually recorded the scenes in reverse order because a couple of the actors were notorious for becoming difficult to work with by the end of the movie. So they recorded that entire movie backwards and then edited it together. Kind of crazy. Theater seating over there. You could get a hide-to-bed sleeper sofa. Sofa? Sure. Yeah, let's go with that. Sleeper sofa option if you are so inclined. I think there's even a table and chairs option instead of the booth dinette if that jelly's a little bit more of your jam there. It just all kind of depends on what your little preference is. Now, one of the cool things here is like I'm sitting over at the dinette right now, and the TV angle's not exactly the best. But if you're sitting here and maybe you're doing some light laptop work or just munching a little bit, that TV actually can pivot around. Now, the storage on the face of the entertainment center isn't massive, although I really respect the fact that their overhead doors hold themselves. The bulk of your storage is going to be back here behind it. Now, these shelves they're not adjustable, but they are removable. So if you want to convert this into a giant closet by the door or a pantry or some combination thereof, you can. Here's what I found. In an absolute makeshift need, it can make a little mini office, although it really sucks for that purpose. Use my backpack in there for scale. And they have the little clutter cutter shoe garage down below the fireplace, but I think this is the best spot for it. As we back up here, they've also changed for this year their refrigerator. It's still a 12-volt compressor fridge, but it has a pull-out lower freezer drawer, which I've heard a lot of people really preferring. Thing is, though, with the RV being a little bit taller, it means that this big 12-volt compressor fridge does mount high. I think Freedom Express is one of the few brands that still has a gas-electric refrigerator swaption option, by the way. I think that's an 8 cubic foot. The redesign that they did last year with the nose actually expanded that overhead storage space a little bit, which I think is nice. They're not using a big oven, but at least they're using some kind of oven, which is one of those things that a lot of brands have stopped doing. And as we're looking at the remainder of the kitchen storage here, I need a bit of feedback from you folks. If you'd be kind enough to leave me a note. For a while, what I was doing is just recording extra bits of footage with the cabinetry open and then just kind of talking over it a little bit. But sometimes what I was talking about and what you were seeing didn't line up. The way that I'm doing it right now, by actually live talking over the footage that I'm capturing, it makes the video longer. But is it better this way? Is it easier to follow? Do you prefer it the other way to save a little time since you can still see everything? Or is it easier when you can kind of see and hear everything together? If you could leave me a little note with that feedback, it would greatly, It would greatly help us help you. Nailed it. First try. The dinette can fold down into a sleeper. It's a small one. It's a small sleeper. If you wanted a good guest sleeper, you're probably going to want to sacrifice the theater seat to go with a hide-a-bed. Notice, though, it is a wall hugger, which is really, really nice, so that you don't have to wrestle the stupid thing away from the wall. If you look at it, though, it's like, yeah, but there's no plugs around the sofa. You're right. There's plugs in the sofa. Now, If you go with the hide-a-bed sleeper sofa option, those, there is no central armrest. And to be fair, some people don't like that central armrest. Mr. Richard Vale, a very, very regular viewer of these videos, if an RV has a fixed hard central armrest for him, it's just a deal breaker. And as we open and close the shades, I think this is a good time to kind of point out another fair point for consideration. This floor plan is not awesome for viewing your campsite. Just the way that this one lays out, like you can't just flip the floor plan. You've got the nice front kitchen window. You got a window in the door. It is prepped for a privacy shade. You got a window off the back. The biggest, chunkier windows, though, they are looking at the neighbor's site. But to get a floor plan like this into 30 feet, it's just what you have to do. If you were willing to accept another 2.5 to 3 feet, they could probably work something out. But it's just not how this one plays out. Porcelain foot flush stool here. And if you direct your eyes to the left side of the screen, you see how it is overall fairly fluffy friendly. I'm always surprised. I feel like I'm going to hit my right elbow on that cabinet right there, but I don't. You might notice how that's flat paneled off. That's because that's actually the outside camp kitchen. This up here, though, I like how they still give us some towel storage. And after you use the towels and you want them to dry off, just some simple flip down little clips. Ooh, God, that was much more aggressive than I was necessarily expecting. Sorry about that. Conventional 4-inch fart fan up top for fumigation, ventilation, nothing too special there. And if we look at the right side of the screen, you see how this shower, with the 6'9" ceiling, it means that you actually have good headroom in here. However, you might notice that I'm bonking my elbows. With a radius shower, depending on where you stand, sometimes that's just the case. These are including, though, the Shower Miser water saver system. This is an RV that has some light-duty boondock considerations. It is not a heavy-duty, you're going to spend 2 weeks off-grid kind of thing. It doesn't have the holding tank capacities to do that. It doesn't have factory standard solar. It has a small optional solar package we'll talk more about outside, and obviously I didn't flip the bathroom door now. Sorry, that's in your face over there. This bedroom is cool. It's really good when you actually use it. It's a really awkward bedroom for me to actually try to record on camera. It's interesting, too. This is one of the only Freedom Express floor plans that forces some kind of RV king bed. It's like 70 or 72 wide, but it is 80 inches long. If you wanted to sub to a true queen bed aftermarket, you could. They don't offer that from the factory. But if you wanted to put one in later, you could. If you get this with 50 amp service, this is the vent that will be prepped for the second air conditioner. Or if you actually get the second air conditioner installed, there won't be a vent here. It will be a second air conditioner. Okay, the wall behind me was further away than I thought. Let me get you a look down here. This is going to look very blank and very wasted because this is an outside camp kitchen. There's stuff behind the wall. That's actually why these vents are there. Those are your refrigerator vents. Looking our way up here, if you choose to add a TV, you've got a perfect little spot for one. You saw in my early footage, though, that's the corner that I shoved myself into to try to get you some of this bedroom footage. As I say all the time, I do my own stunts, guys. Taking a look over here, this is going to be the big bulk of your closet space. Now, there's a shelf on the right side, but the shelf is removable. Some people don't need a lot of hanging storage. Some people want more hanging storage. So they let you kind of customize your storage solutions on this one in the way that will kind of work for you best. Let me get this door out of the way to show you how deep these drawers actually are, because there's some pretty decent storage there. Now, this is about to become very up close and personal because, again, I don't like using a wide-angle fisheye camera lens if I can possibly help it. But to give you a look here under the bed storage, I have to really kind of give you a straight nose down view of this, which I don't like doing. That's part of the reason I throw that TV box in there so that you have an idea of how much space is actually under this bed. And you might notice the struts are there to make this a little bit easier up and down. Another little detail I noticed that I really appreciate, they maintain the same blackout roller shades here in the bedroom that they have in the rest of the RV. And that's one of those little details that a lot of brands don't do. A lot of times once you get to the bedroom, they start to scale down on certain things. And I love the fact that those, it's a smaller cabinet over the bed, but at least they use doors that like will hold themselves. Now that is just more dedicated dresser space. That can't convert into any sort of closet kind of capacity. I kind of think it would be nice. Like, what do you think? What if those shelves in there were actually removable? How cool would it be if that could actually convert over? Now, this RV has some excellent qualities that we've looked at, but one of the catch-22s is what happens when we close the slides. But when we close the slide out, very quickly, you discover this floor plan's Achilles heel. The road mode is quite limited. Basically, you can use enough of the kitchen for a quick little travel snack-tastic stop, but that's it. The bathroom and the bedroom are just not going to be accessible. And it's not like, well, what if you left the bathroom door open? Like, it doesn't work like that. One of the things, though, this is a rack and pinion slide out. So one of the benefits of that is if you want to deploy it partially to be able to gain a little bit enhanced access, that is something that you could do on a model like this. Now, you don't want to do it in the rain because while it's opening and closing, it's not fully properly sealed the way it should be. But opening it not even halfway is enough where even a big chicken nugget dad bod like me can squeeze his way through here and get to the bathroom or get back to the bedroom. Like if you just need to throw some duffel bags or something back there. So again, it's not ideal, but maybe that works for some people. Maybe it doesn't. I'm just trying to put it out there and be fair to try to show the ups and the downs of the RV. If you like that, hit that subscribe button. Know that we'll always shoot you straight. Let's hop outdoors. Now, the specific trailer we're looking at, as it was built and optioned out, came in at 6,822 pounds, which might vary slightly from what's on screen. Those are the generic weights and measures, like from the brochure. Sometimes they don't exactly match because of things like options or whatever the case may be. Let's talk towability. This was an RV that when it first came out, I was very involved. I was like, wow, look at this. It's half-ton towable with a bedroom slide. And we sold a bunch of them. And as I learned more about towing, I realized that that maybe wasn't always the best and safest advice to give to my customers. And I regret that, but that's why I want to continue to grow and expand my knowledge and share that with you. The thing is, this thing has a 9,000 pound GVW, which means it's got nicely over 2,000 pounds of cargo capacity. That's an absolutely fantastic measure right there. But with a super slide dead on the nose of this sucker, even with the wide stance stability axles helping balance it out, it has a chunkier hitch weight than a lot of half tons really are going to be able to safely handle once cargo is factored in. So is it half ton towable? Depends on the half ton and the towing in question. If you're wanting to go cross country through mountains, I don't know that you're going to like it. If you're going to go through flatland, southern Michigan, northern Indiana, and you have a good tow package half ton with a solid payload rating, you might be okay. It just depends. I'm curious to know what you think about this. This tube right here, I've been noticing that in a bunch of these things. And I saw the sticker on it that says Coachmen cares, so I inquired on that. And what they're doing is basically they're shipping that every Freedom Express with this little Coachmen Cares bundle. Maybe it's every Coachmen, I don't know, but the Freedom Expresses are all shipping with this thing. And it includes stuff like a couple extra pieces of trim, some putty, a few small little cosmetic touch items that whether you or your dealer do it, you have the ability to do a couple quick little surface skin fixes if the need even arises. So it's kind of like, you know, when you get a paint package on a motorhome, they ship it with a little bit of extra touch-up paint. They're kind of just giving it touch-up parts, if that makes sense. I don't know. What's your thought on that? Like, it might help speed up repair process times. But either way, I don't know. Let's take a look at the awning. It is nicely covering both the camp kitchen as well as the entry door. But another really cool thing about the awning is that there's actually a switch right out here. They included a 3-way switch. So if you want to be outside and open the awning right from ground level, that is something you can do. And I wasn't going to sit there and make you slowly watch the entire awning open. I've done that, and it's about as exciting as watching paint dry. So I figured I'd use some Steven Spielberg movie magic to kind of cut to it open a little bit there. But again, it nicely covers the entry door and the camp kitchen, even though the camp kitchen does have its own big door kind of cover. During the day, the outside awning lights don't really do much for you. Those are obviously more of a nighttime kind of thing. I like the newer entry handle they're putting by the door. Sorry, my head jumps around all kinds of things like the House of Pain. So if we pack it up and pack it in, let me begin here with the wide stance stability axle system. It basically, the best way you can describe it, cheats the wheelbase. It makes the RV feel like it's shorter when you're towing it. And that blue box down there is the factory tire pressure monitoring that's included. Basically, everything you're looking at here is standard and included. The outdoor griddle, the little work table station, the larger, college kid dorm fridge as compared to the little like 1.2 cubic foot variety. I do like that spice rack back there. But the sink, a real sink that actually drains into a holding tank, because this is right next to the bathroom on the inside of the RV. It's just on the other side of the wall. They were able to piggyback off that holding tank and let everything drain right in there. As we work our way around, you see that little picnic table. I actually unboxed that for you. Did my RV nerd unboxing of a picnic table. Terribly exciting stuff, obviously. But they include a little 2 foot by 4 foot table, which is nice because there are some people who will literally slap their sewer hoses across the public picnic table and hose them down. And it's absolutely disgusting. And it's a real thing that happens. And short of that, frankly, the wildlife likes to use them like a toilet as well. I forgot to open this up. This is a little bit of storage below the bedroom closet right here. What would you put back here? Like, this is actually pretty big. The storage compartment is actually about twice as big as the door is. Now, you do have a 250-pound rated ladder, always mounted right there from the factory to get you up top. It is a fully walkable roof. It's a 3/8 OSB roof decking. It's interesting. It's actually wood trusses, but they use an aluminum perimeter so that the roof and the sidewalls both have smooth aluminum edges, so they marry up a little better. Maybe somebody else does that. I'm not really aware of other builders that do that. This doesn't have a hitch on the back, but it is prepped for one if you want to add a little hitch to your giddy up. So there's little prep brackets that drop down. Now I've got to swing my way around the hookup panel here. I'm basically at the Coachmen service campsite, so their customer service sites actually on the Middlebury Coachmen campus that they were, again, kind enough to set us up on. If you look between the slides, you can see all of your hookups are all kind of centrally located all in one spot. But if you look down below, we've got some perfect backlighting to really display this. This is a two-headed sewer monster. I've talked to them. They were trying to find ways to avoid it. And just with the way that everything works out, you have a bathroom black and gray outlet to the right of the tires and a kitchen. Actually, no. What is going on here? Okay, so you have your gray outlets in the front, your black outlet in the back. Apparently that's how this one boils down now that I'm looking at the plumbing right there, which is not anyone's preference. And that front hookup is under the super slide. So if there's anybody that owns this floor plan, I would love to hear from you. How have you navigated that? Because there will be some people that will, you should never leave your black tank valve open full time, by the way. That's a good way to end up with the pyramid, which is awful. Some people will leave their gray tank outlets open all the time. Because for the most part, it tends to just drain out. I don't like to do that, but on a floor plan like this, it might not be a terrible way to go. And to help give you a little sense of scope and scale, one of the things I've done here is I took the box from the picnic table and the 40-inch smart TV, and I just shoved them up here under the bed. It's not separated inside versus outside, but you might notice that it is aluminum framed. The back doors also, you might notice, have magnetic holdbacks with a handy little like self-grasping clasp. And look at the side of the slide out. They wrap the graphics around the slide side. I just can't remember seeing towable brands do that, and it looks so much cleaner and complete this way, doesn't it? So whether you're curious or whether you're serious about the asking price of one of these, check the links in the video description. You're one click away from seeing where we have one of these parked and what we're asking. I think currently we only have these in our Bish's lineup at our Coldwater and our Indiana stores. Coldwater, Michigan, sorry, it's my home store, so I assume everyone knows that Coldwater's in Michigan because that's where I grew up, sorry. But our Southern Michigan and our Northern Indiana store, that's where we have these. I think we used to have them out west. I don't know if we do currently, but here's the cool thing. Because our stores local to Middlebury, local to the manufacturer, carry these, If you want one of these shipped out to the West Coast, you don't have to pay extra. You still have to pay for the shipping charges, certainly, but whether it's shipped from the factory to a local dealer or whether one of our local stores ships it out to your location, it still has to ship. So you're not getting double dipped on the shipping cost. So that's one of the advantages that we still carry with one of these. Or if you feel like coming to one of our stores to pick one of these up, you can actually cut out about 2/3 of the shipping travel costs getting it yourself. You just need to take a day off work or two to do that. It just depends on what works for you. There's also a bunch of other RV makers who make a floor plan like this, and I'm going to leave you links to a bunch of them in the video description. Let me know which one you would go with and why if you're willing to watch a few of those. And I think I just ate a gnat. So with that, I'm going to wrap this up. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy munching, everyone.